Welcome to the Nightly Rant. I'm Mike.
And I'm Toria.
This is the show where we talk about the awful things that have happened in our day, the awesome things that have happened in our day,
and all the things in between.
Thanks for listening, and we truly hope you enjoy. Hey everyone, so for today's episode, we have a special throwback because something happened and we were unable to record an episode, and we want you to have an episode 5 days a week. So we hope you enjoy this special throwback episode that we have chosen for you. So here's the thing. I have heard a lot of crazy proposals in my lifetime.
Have you? Name 5.
And I try to keep an open mind about any crazy proposal. I'm not naming 5. I try to keep an open mind about any proposal that comes across my vision.
Do you now?
But there's something wrong with this needle exchange thing. You know, like at first, when I didn't know anything about it, I was like, what's the problem? Some guy brings in 5 needles, you give him 5 clean needles. Now you're helping stop the spread of disease. I mean, that's the whole idea of
to stop the spread of disease.
The shooting dens.
And to make sure the needles aren't left in places like parks.
And that's the whole point of the shooting dens, is to give them sterile needles and syringes.
Hold on a second. Could you take any kind of needles to a needle exchange? And get more needles?
Of course.
Why does anybody on the planet pay for needles?
Who knows?
Like diabetics. Couldn't you just go and
exactly
get your needles plus 20?
Yeah.
And literally never pay for needles?
But I'm not sure that the needles that they're going to be giving are going to be like insulin level needles.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's a distinct possible probability.
Interesting.
So, what do you think? I mean, like...
Well, okay. I personally do not see anything wrong with the needle exchange at a 1-to-1 ratio.
Okay.
But the way that they're doing it, where it's a 1-to-1 ratio plus 20, seems extreme. Because you can go in with 1 needle and come out with 21 needles. And so, if you only need to keep 1 of them in your bag to go and get 21 more, you're not going to keep the other 20. You're just going to strew them all over the place.
And their argument is going to be that the reason they give them the extra 20 was that they have a friend or friends who are too afraid to come and exchange needles, and so by doing it this way, they're helping those people's friends as well.
But that's stupid, because why can't the friends just give person who's not afraid all of their old dirty used needles, and they bring all of them in?
Exactly. Totally agree with you.
So that argument is invalid.
It's a stupid argument.
It's invalid. It's just complete bullshit. Try again.
Mm-hmm. It's bullshit because you can just rewind, basically.
Right.
It's dumb stuff. But there was a second thing we wanted to talk about besides
the supervised injection facility.
Oh, yeah. Where you came from.
Yeah.
They have supervised injection facilities.
They have a supervised injection facility. And the article that I was reading earlier had some quite interesting statistics. Now, Lethbridge only has 80,000 people, so these numbers might seem a little bit low. They opened the supervised injection site there because there had been a colossal increase in the number of overdoses because of fentanyl, which is a huge problem in Alberta.
Mm-hmm.
And so they opened this place, and in the first week, they had 80 customers use the place 200 times.
That's crazy.
And they prevented 2 overdoses.
That's great.
Like, That seems like
But the
it's
number
worth
of
it.
people, the number of people that used it compared to the total population, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. 0.1%.
Yeah.
But how much of the population is really drug addicts who actually
Right.
use needles and drugs on a regular basis?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, it seems interesting. And now the city is considering a second one. So, like, while there's all the opposition, can you really argue with the fact that it's just providing people a place where they don't die when they take their drugs?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Because maybe, just maybe, it prevents them from taking their drugs in the public park where your children are playing. Because let's be real,
Yeah.
these people are going to take their drugs regardless. There's nothing you or I or anybody else in the world can do about it.
That's true.
So why not give them a place where they can take the drugs where they're not putting anybody else at risk?
Makes sense to me. I mean,
I think so.
why? I mean, what it's doing is it's treating drug use as a health issue.
Well, that sounds very libertarian.
Not right. It's not treating it as a criminal issue. And in fact, even back as far as 2013, and I'm sure it's back even further than that, I was reading an article that was saying
What?
I was reading an article that was saying that they had several hundred of these facilities around the world in 2013.
And it was not... It was mostly in the UK and Canada and only a couple here.
Right.
Why is here so resistant to that?
Because the real conservative side says that it encourages drug use.
I have to say, people...
I mean, that's what Spitzer said at the supervisors meeting.
But he's an idiot. Like, he's just a colossal doorknob. And we both know that he's wrong. It doesn't encourage new drug use. Having a supervised injection site does not include little Tommy and Sally to start shooting up heroin. There are other life situations encourage that.
Yep. But what it does do is it makes it so that it's basically supervised.
You know what else it does?
Medically supervised.
Cuts down the cost of emergency services.
Yeah.
Because those people are there to handle any problems.
Well, and they're not making
And they don't
it,
have to call 911.
They're not making it like just anybody can watch over these things. It has to be a medical professional.
Right.
So I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, where I get bothered, though, is like what you were saying, like with the needle exchange. Like, I don't understand why there needs to be a need to give X number of extra.
I
just
don't know.
understand.
I feel like that's just a recipe for there to be mounds of needles left in public parks near the needle exchange.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I honestly feel like if they did it at the 1-to-1 ratio, there would not be that problem.
Yeah.
Because people are going to come in and they're going to get
Because they're going to want their needles back.
Right, they're going to get their 10 or 20 or 30 needles that they need. Then they're going to want to keep every single one of those needles.
Right.
Do they clean needles, sterilize them, and reuse them, or do they get disposed of?
They generally get disposed of.
How do you dispose of a needle?
Melt it.
What about the stabby part?
That's the needle. The other part is just the syringe.
So they melt. What do they do after they melt it? Do they turn it into something new?
Probably.
Like a new needle?
Maybe.
Interesting.
But remember, the needle is the metal part. The syringe is the plastic.
The whole thing is a needle.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Nope.
So do they just turn in the stabby part then? The needle exchange, or do they turn in the whole shebang?
Just the stabby part. And then they get new stabby parts, to put it the way you put it.
Do they use one pushy part, and all like 73,000 of their stabby parts?
Probably.
Interesting.
Yeah. Why do you think they find more needles than syringes?
Well, honestly, I thought every single time somebody was whining and yelling about finding a needle, they'd found
the whole thing,
the stabby and the pushy.
Huh. Interesting.
The pictures I've seen that people have posted have been the whole shebang, both pieces.
Interesting.
That's probably why I thought that.
Interesting.
But just the stabby part, just like laying in the ground, that's terrifying.
Yes.
Because you could not see that shit coming.
No, you could not.
I've stepped on a sewing needle before. I would not want to step on anything bigger than that. I wouldn't want to step on anything bigger.
Yeah, I told you that I had a sewing machine needle. And I had like a chair, right? And it was on, like there was an L desk. And the sewing stuff was to the left of me. And so I was sitting there and I was barefooted and I swung the chair around. And the needle was on the ground. And it just went right through the second toe and into the big toe.
Son of a bitch.
Exactly. And I swung around hard. And I had to pull that thing out of there.
I stepped on a
that
rusty
did not
barn
feel
nail
good.
once.
Oh God, that gives me the creeps.
There's a scar on the top of my foot.
Oh, that makes me tingle all over.
It didn't feel good.
Bad.
Okay, and so you know how like my parents' property is, and you know where the barns are. I stepped on the rusty barn nail in the barn.
Oh.
And I had to walk home.
That just gives me the willies.
I have to go get a tetanus shot.
I bet.
My butt cheek.
I bet. That just gives me the willies to think about that. Whoa.
And my dad, he just went, look away for a second. RIP! Because, parents.
Well, what else is he supposed to do?
I don't know. I still remember the day he put a nail through his hand when he was building our deck. Then he just pulled it out and he came into the house and he's like, I'm bleeding. And my mom wrapped it in pads, like feminine hygiene products.
Hey, it worked. Didn't it?
It did.
Well, there you go. How can you make fun of something that works?
I don't. It's just a funny story. And now I've shared it with all of you.
Odie says he likes that story. Huh, Odie? Odie, silly dog.
Where is he?
He's over there, laying on the backpack.
Good.
He thinks he's going away somewhere.
I'm watching him.
Silly
Peeing on my wall.
That's
Jerk.
more for me to edit. Pretty girl's hunting toys over there.
Good. Maybe she'll find one she likes.
She doesn't like toys.
Yes, she does.
No.
She loves those fluffy ball things.
Those are the only toys she likes.
There's two of
All
them in
other
there.
toys, she says, come from fascist dictators. She's not interested in those.
She's in the toy basket.
She's funny. I think Yog Dog, he's like half tired and he also wants to play. I don't know what the deal is. Like his eyes are open, but he's like laying on the ground like he wants to sleep.
He wants to play, but you're podcasting.
Is that what it is on Yog Dog?
Anyway, you got anything else to say
Are
about...
you crazy like a jaybird, Yog Dog?
Got anything else to say about needles?
Well, you know what about the needles? That's kind of...
He does. Oh, yeah.
I think that the
needles.
needle thing, if it was a 1-to-1 exchange, would be a doable thing. Especially if the government wasn't the one that was implementing it. Like that one that I read about, the inline whatever company it was called. That was a private company.
What would a private company have to gain by doing 1-to-1 needle exchanges with addicts? I'm just curious. I believe there's a thing, because nobody just does that.
Well, chances are there would be a pharmaceutical company of some sort.
Okay.
And that's who runs them. And I think that the pharmaceutical company would make more profit based off of the publicity that they're helping the addicts like that.
So you think a pharma company would just use it as like a billboard?
Essentially, yeah.
Interesting.
I think that it's a very possible use.
Huh.
But the needle thing, it shouldn't be more than 1-to-1. Just shouldn't.
Right.
Because, you said exactly what I said earlier, which is, so if you had 5 friends that were too shy to go bring their 20 needles in each,
right,
then they could just give those 5 friends could give you their 100 needles, and you could bring in 120 and get them exchanged. Because there's no questions asked.
Right. You know what would be interesting? If this free needle exchange prompted a few people to start, like, needle hunting in the grass.
Yeah. I'm sure that's part of it, too.
Like with a metal detector.
Well, and I'm sure that's part of it, too. And then they'll sell it.
Yeah.
They'll get the new needles and then they'll sell them.
Which would be interesting.
There'll be a black market for needles.
Which there already is.
Yeah, well, there'll be a bigger one.
Huh. You learn something new every day.
Yep. It's like pieces of a puzzle. And they just kind of go together, and then you go, oh, now I understand why that did what it did. But anyway, I think that the dogs are awaiting our attention. So I guess we shall give them our attention.
Well, that means I'll say goodnight to all of you and hello to Yog Dog.
Hasta la bye-bye, Yog Dog.
Hi everyone, this is Mike, and I truly hope you enjoyed this show. You're able to subscribe to this show on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher so as to never miss an episode. If by chance you did miss an episode here or there, you can catch up on all shows, past and present, by heading over to yogispodcastnetwork.com/TNR show. Thanks for listening.